Hello there, it's Alan with Bay Valley Real Estate. Let me take these off. I have these on because I got an urgent phone call this morning from the 80s, and they told me they'd like to have their suit back, and they're not getting it. I wouldn't wear it outside the house probably, but here we are in the home office, as we call it. Today's one of my favorite topics because it's been eating at me for a while. It's called the underpriced listing. You see it all the time. You see agents that advertise and they brag that they sold this house for, $40,000 over asking price, $30,000 over asking price, blah, 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 blah. What they're saying is they listed it for $40,000 under market price. So what happens when one's overpriced? Nothing happens because no one comes and looks at it. Maybe one or two people come by and kick tires, or a neighbor looks at it, but if it's overpriced, and it's significantly overpriced, nobody comes at all. If it's underpriced, just the opposite takes place. All sorts of people come. And most of the people, or a lot of them that come, are coming because that low price is their price range. It's what they can afford. But you know darn well that your agent is planning on getting a bidding war begin to start jacking that price up. So is it a good strategy? In my opinion, no. What do I do if I list a house? Simple. I got some stats here, and we'll just go over them. It'll take about a minute. Got a dear relative who, with her husband, is thinking about selling their house. They bought it 3 or 4 years ago. Really good house in a very cool neighborhood. They asked me if I could give them an idea of what they could expect to glean from it. And usually what people mean by that is they want to know how much they will net after all the fees and all that kind of stuff. How much they'll have. Because they're going to go buy a new house and they want to know how much cash they're going to have. So we have to figure that out, and we have to be real honest and brutal about it. We're at the same time making sure we do not leave money on the table. It's their money. And if it's a relative and you leave a lot of their money on the table, well, you're going to see them at Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving and Easter and all the rest of it, and it's going to be bad. So let's be real accurate about it, and let's go spot on plus a teensy little bit. Here's how we do it. Property profile. You can get it on MetroList. Any agent that's licensed and belongs to MLS can get it. Gives a whole history of the house. How many square feet it is, what the assessor's parcel number is, when it last sold, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, blah, 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 all the good stuff. And it also has a rundown of the mortgages. So you can use a little calculator they give you on there, and you can look at the mortgage. And in 2016, they owed $272 and some change. There's an amortization schedule you can look at and figure out about how much they owe today. Close to it anyway. So you take that $272 and assume that maybe they paid $1,000 or $2,000 off of that. That's fair enough. So you've got that. You know how many square feet? 1,465. You know it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And most importantly, you know it's a single-story home. So you can go on MLS and you can search for those houses, and you can search within a particular radius. And what you do is you put a radius of the address of their house. So what's been selling, the single story, in this case I went from 1,200 to 1,600 square feet, so we got a nice bracket in there. When did it sell? What did it sell for? And conversely, what's available now? Because if they decide all of a sudden they want to sell the house now, this is going to be the competition. So you have to know what these numbers are, and it's not hard to figure them out. I use the assessor's hateful, boy, I got lectured last year by one of them that told me I was just terrible, and it's not how to do business and all this. I can estimate prices pretty well by square footage. It's a real good thumbnail. Yes, one house has a wine rack, one house doesn't. But they're all 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, single story, about the same age, with a 2-car garage, and they're within a quarter, in this case, a half-a-mile radius. So what we did is we ran the comps, and our MLS gives us a CMA, comparative market analysis. Maybe it's competitive. I think it's comparative. CMA report. This column is 2 houses. This column tells you what's available right now. So if somebody wanted to buy a house in that neighborhood, in that size range, from 1,200 to 1,600 square feet, right now there's 2 of them available. They're both in the 1,200 square foot range. Oh my God, and they're running at $291 a foot. So they're mid 300s, 344 and 369, which bodes well for our 1465 plan. Bodes very well. Second stage, what's been selling? Because this is what realtors are going to look at when they bring their client to your house. They're going to say, wow, this is about right. This house is pretty fairly priced. Or they're going to look at it and say, holy mackerel, this house is totally out of line. Or they're going to look at it and say, oh my God, this thing has been priced $65,000 under market, and God knows how much they're expecting for it. I've got these people here, you know, that are in a certain price range, and they think this house is that's a mess. So what you do is you establish a price, and in this case, we know houses have been selling for closing at about $254 a square foot. So if we took our 1465, I got a calculator here, 1465 times 253, I think it was. It puts our subject roughly 370. Okay? 370K, which ain't bad. So if you go by the closed comps, 370. So what that means is they can buy your house today for $253 a foot, or they can go buy a smaller house for $291 a square foot, although they're smaller houses and they're much less money. But in this case, if we're 370 and we listed it like, 375, we should get an offer right in that bracket. And further information on these closed sales, which is really important, days on the market, listen to this, 8, 1, 16, 7, 7, 15, 19, 8, 11. It's robust out there. These homes are selling fast. These ones that are available, there's only two. One's been on the market 11 days, the other's been on the market 5 days. So this is a really good market, and that's something you want to share with your client. You want to say, oh, it's a pretty darn good market. Because in this case, I know that they're planning on doing some stuff. They want to do some cosmetic things, some paint, touch up, maybe some flooring. They want to fix the fence, things like that, which doesn't hurt. And none of that's tremendously expensive. If they were going to add an extra wing onto the house or a second story, I'd strongly urge them against that. So that's how we price listings, as opposed to somebody that comes in and says, well, I know the house is worth $375. I know that. I can read. But let's put it on the market for $300. Then we'll get people to bid that price up, and we'll probably end up getting $395 for it. So now what happens? You get a flood of people that can only afford $300,000. $300,000 is a cutoff point on search parameters for most agents. My people have been pre-qualified for $300,000. Well, they don't know, or they can ascertain if they've been in the business more than a week, and a lot of them haven't. The house is really worth $375 to $385. So they say, oh, geez, that's probably what the people are looking for. Now, this puts the buyer's agent in a conundrum. He's got to tell these people, well, you know, I know it's listed for $300, but I think it's really worth $375. What are you going to do? Your client thinks you're an idiot. They think that the sellers are crooked. They don't understand this method. And you might very easily be dealing with a disappearing client because of that. Not a good practice at all. Price the house fairly. A lot of times, you know, the sellers want to pad it a hair. Okay. If I thought it was worth $370 and they listed for $374.5, that wouldn't break my heart. But when you go that underpriced route, you've opened up a entire can of worms, and it's not very happy. And that's my story for today. I gotta go find some socks. I figured I'd wear loafers without socks, but being at my age, it hurts my feet. Thanks for watching, and we'll go back and visit the 80s, and I may come back wearing a tank top. I don't know. Thanks a million. This is Alan with Bay Valley, and I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial. Thank you.